We're going to talk about section 9.2, which is on the lateral area and the total area just of prisms. So we're going to focus on prisms. And when we talk about the area of a prism, that's always going to be an outside measure. So area of a three-dimensional shape, such as this, is like wrapping paper. It's like if you're wrapping that box up in wrapping paper, how much would you need? The lateral area is the area of the faces. So just those faces that are around the sides of the prism, where total area is the area of the faces plus the bases. And that's really the surface area. The total area is the surface area. We have two formulas that we're going to learn here, and the first one is the formula for lateral area of a prism is perimeter of base times height. And the height here is the height of the whole prism. Perimeter of base times the height of the prism. So if I look at this prism here, do you agree that this is the base? And so if I filled in all four sides of the base, the perimeter of the base would be what? You're right, 8 plus 3 plus 8 plus 3, or 22 inches. What would the height of the prism be? Height always connects the two bases. So this is my height here, 4 inches. And if I'm going to find the lateral area, which I often abbreviate LA, lateral area is perimeter of base times height, is going to be 88, and because it's area squarea, inches squared. That's the lateral area, and that means the area around the outside. If I want to do the total area, I have to add on the area of the base. And I'm going to add it on 2 times. And a lot of times we'll use the letter capital B to be area of the base. We're going to add that on 2 times. People always ask, how do you find the area of the base? Well, it depends on the shape of the base. If the base is a rectangle or a square, we're going to do either base times height or length times width of that base. And if the base is a triangle, we'll do base times height divided by 2. So remember that from our last chapter, triangle we divide by 2. In the example we gave here, it's a base of a rectangle, so the area of the base is going to be, what's the area of this rectangle? You're right, 8 times 3, 24 inches squared. Now there's 2 of those, so you'll see on the homeworks and even here in the notes in a second, we're going to have you double that 24 to represent both top and bottom. And then the total area, excuse me, would take the lateral area plus that doubled area of the base. So here it would be 136 inches squared. So that's that example. Let's move on to this example. It's basically another rectangular prism. It's always helpful for me to shade in the bases and to write in all 4 sides. So I see a 10 and a 5, and I'm going to write in the other 10 and the other 5. So when I find the perimeter of that base, it's 10 plus 5 plus 10 plus 5, or 30. And you don't have to write that down. I'm just showing that work for you. The height of the prism always connects the 2 bases. So in this case, the height is 6. For lateral area, I'm going to follow my formula, which I wrote here, perimeter of base times height. So I have the perimeter of base is 30, I have the height is 6, so that's 180 centimeters squared. The area of the base, again, the base is a rectangle, so the area of any rectangle is either base times height, or you might say length times width. In this case, it's 10 times 5 or 50. And there's 2 of them, so it's 100 centimeters squared. We double it. To find the total area, we're going to add these 2 together. The lateral area plus that doubled area of the base, because then that takes into account both bases. Yes? All right, we only have 2 examples left. These are triangular prisms. So triangular prisms, here is the base. I'm going to rewrite that 10 because that's going to match, right? So the perimeter of the base, 6 plus 8 plus 10 is 24 centimeters. And the height, of course, connects the 2 triangles is 4. Lateral area, perimeter of base times height is 96 centimeters squared, square area. And then here's where it's a common error part here with area of the base. The base is a triangle. Triangle we divide by 2. So the area is not 8 times 6, but 8 times 6 divided by 2, or 24. Then we double it because there's 2 bases. And then we add up the 96 plus the 48 is going to be 144 centimeters squared. Triangle can be a little tricky, and so here's another one. And this triangle is missing a side here. And it's a right triangle. Do you remember how to find the missing side of a right triangle? You're right, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So we've done this same Pythagorean triple tons of times. You know when you take the square root that you get 13. So the perimeter of the base is 5 plus 12 plus 13. So that is 30 centimeters. Plane units for perimeter. Now I'm having a hard time seeing what this is because it's kind of punched out. I'm going to guess that it's a 10. I hope that it's a 10. 10 centimeters, I'm going to hope. So height is 10. If it's not on your sheet, then you would just have to substitute whatever that number is, or just cross it out and say, let's say it's a 10. And then lateral area, of course, perimeter base times height. Area of the base is a triangle, so it's 5 times 12 divided by 2, or 30. There are 2 of them, so we double it. And then we add 300 plus 60. So by the time you get to the end, you see like we've done that same pattern with the numbers every single time. And those words and the guidance will be with you on the homework and on the quiz and test. The last ones are asking you to kind of go backwards, and so it's really helpful for me, even if I just abbreviate the formula. Lateral area is perimeter times height. So I'm just going to plug in the perimeter and the height, and then I'll go back with the units and say lateral areas, square units, 45 centimeters squared. The next one, I'm going to write the formula out again. Lateral area is perimeter times height. Now it's telling me the lateral area is 56 and the height is 4. Find the perimeter of the base. Well, I'm just going to solve that little algebra question. P is equal to 14 centimeters, perimeter plane units. The very last one is asking for total area. So I'm going back up here, how total area is lateral area plus area of base 2 times. The lateral area is 50 plus 10 plus 10, just substituting it in. So the total area is 70 centimeters squared, like that. And there is lateral and total area of a prism.